Hello and welcome. Today, we are diving into a question that sounds so simple on the surface, but getting it wrong, well, it causes a ton of confusion and waste in pretty much every organization out there. We're going to build a blueprint for clarity, one that can totally change how you think about and deliver value. And it all starts right here.
So there it is, the big one. What is a service? And maybe more importantly, how do we define it so that everybody, everyone from your frontline teams all the way up to the boardroom, can actually understand it and agree on it? This is the foundational question, and if you get it wrong, the consequences are huge.
And this is exactly where all the trouble begins. Let's be honest, in most companies, the word service is just a buzzword. It doesn't have a real, solid backbone. Go ahead, try it. Ask 10 people in your own organization what it means. I bet you'll get 10 different answers. Marketing has their definition, IT has another, finance has a third. It's like everyone is speaking a completely different language, and that just creates chaos right under the surface.
Now, you think, okay, let's look at the standards bodies. They'll give us some clarity. Right? Wrong. They often make things even worse. The International Organization for Standardization, ISO, has over 100 different definitions for the term service. Yeah, you heard that right, over 100. When even the referees can't agree on the rules of the game, you know you've got a really deep systemic problem on your hands.
So, who cares? Why does this really matter? Because this isn't just some debate about words. It's a massive business problem. This ambiguity creates friction between your teams. It breaks down communication with your suppliers, and it makes building a seamless customer experience pretty much impossible. It's a roadblock to effective collaboration.
This quote from the great systems thinker Russell Ackoff just hits the nail on the head. It's a powerful warning for all of us. We can pour money into fancy new tools, we can do all the agile training, we can spend countless hours on process improvements. But if all of that is built on a shaky, ambiguous understanding of what a service is, that we're just getting better and better at doing the wrong thing.
Okay, so how do we fix this mess? We have to stop thinking in terms of all these complicated overlapping practices and start thinking more like an architect. What we need is a simple, repeatable building block, like a Lego block, a principle that lets us build up and break down our service offerings with ease and predictability.
The solution really comes from an architectural method called Unified Service Management, or USM for short. And it starts with a really simple truth. Every single service is an interaction. It's nothing more than a connection, an interface between a provider and a customer. This model here helps us visualize that fundamental link.
And this brings us to the core concept, the USM link. This right here is our standardized Lego block. It's that universal connector that allows you to link any team to any other team, or any organization to another in a totally predictable way. This simple idea of an interface is what makes managing complex supply chains and ecosystems possible.
All right, so if the USM link is our Lego block, how do we actually design one? Let's get practical. We need a simple tool, a blueprint that anyone can pick up and use to define a service consistently every single time. And that's where this canvas comes in. The USM approach breaks a service down into 3 simple core components. First, you've got the facility. That's the thing the customer actually uses. It could be a piece of software, a meeting room, a data set, whatever. Second, there's the support. That's everything the provider does to make sure the customer can actually use that facility. And third, and this is so important, is the experience. What's the intended outcome? What's the feeling the customer gets from it all?
And this all boils down to a beautifully simple but really profound definition. A service is a supported facility. Now, notice the wording there. It's passive. The facility doesn't provide the support. The facility receives the support from the provider, all for the benefit of the customer. That small shift in language has massive architectural implications.
And let's go back to that third component, the experience, because it is absolutely vital. This is our bridge from just delivering stuff to actually creating real value. When we start by defining the experience we want to provide, we automatically start thinking from the outside in. We get beyond just the technical specs and start focusing on what really, truly matters to our customer.
Now, defining our services this way isn't just some neat academic exercise. It's the critical first step you have to take to climb what we call the value maturity ladder. It's what allows you to systematically shift your entire organization from being focused on internal technology to being focused on the external customer.
This model shows you the journey. A lot of organizations, probably most, are stuck down at level 1, just focused on providing tech. Some manage to get to level 2, where they bundle that tech into systems.
But the real goal is to get to level 3, where we provide those well-defined supported facilities, and then ultimately to level 4, where everything we do is driven by the value we create with the customer.
But, and this is a big but, here's the catch. You can't just leapfrog to being customer-driven. It doesn't work that way. True customer centricity is impossible if you don't have complete control and clarity over those foundational levels. You need that simple architectural control of your technology, your systems, and your services first. Without it, customer first is just a nice-sounding slogan.
This really shows the stark contrast in thinking. For decades, the dominant approach has been these practice-based frameworks, right? And they often lead to dozens of overlapping, redundant processes, super high costs, and honestly, a pretty low return on investment. The architectural method of USM just flips that entire script. It gives you a simple system with just 5 non-redundant processes, all built on a foundation of free, accessible knowledge.
So what it comes down to is this. USM offers a fundamentally different and simpler path forward. It's an architecture, not just a collection of practices. It's based on the clear logic of systems thinking. It applies to any service domain, so you get true enterprise service management, and best of all, the core knowledge is free for everyone at usmwiki.com.
And that brings us to a choice. This isn't really about picking another framework off the shelf. It's about choosing a whole new way of thinking. It's about deciding whether you want to keep managing complexity or if you're ready to start architecting for simplicity. I mean, Einstein said it best, didn't he? The old way of thinking, that bottom-up, practice-based complexity, that's what created the mess, the confusion, and the inefficiency we see all around us. To escape that trap, we need a paradigm shift. We have to be willing to adopt that top-down, architectural thinking that actually gives us control. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Which path are you going to choose for your organization? Are you going to continue down that same road of ever more complex frameworks, hard-coding their inefficiencies into your tools and your culture? Or will you choose to become the architect of a simpler future, embracing a structured way of thinking that actually empowers you to solve your own problems? The choice is yours.